Oh, we are in the thick of it now with another heater dropping this week from Bodycam. It's once again a TikToker getting arrested, this time for some grotesque negligence. Digital Princess.
I know that's right. Not the Bentley band, take a member, let's see, I can part it back and all these. If you yell for my money, I ain't having that, cause I beat that boy with a bat.
TikToker by day, amateur adult entertainer by trade, and sometimes a mother. Just not this particular evening.
Kind of scary. Little guy running around here, nobody's here. That's real scary.
What we're about to see is much less dramatic than that entitled slob Wyatt from the last Bodycam video.
Get on the ground or you're gonna get tased.
But it's outrageous in its own right. We are locked and loaded with the new Globe decanter. Yep. Let's feast.
What had all the makings of a peaceful night for residents of a quiet Fort Myers, Florida community took an abruptly strange turn on August 24th, 2021. Police have been dispatched to the neighborhood after receiving word of a shocking situation. A little boy has been found wandering the residential area completely alone. Also mind-blowing, however, is the revelation that the individual behind the whole disaster is a widely known TikTok star. Officers arrive on scene with little information to go on and no idea what they're about to encounter. The following footage has never been seen before.
So often in situations like this, the guilty party has already dealt with this. This happened, almost 2 years ago now. There was a police report write-up. She came out on the internet, basically denied the allegations. After things settled down from her initial arrest that we're about to see, the charges were actually dropped, so no one really got to know what the truth of the situation was. That's why when these body cam footage videos are released, it's interesting to go through them and see what actually happened in hindsight.
Oh, they said they were inside there.
Possible, because that front door is wide open. And they just moved in, so.
I'm out with them. It has an open door. I'll wait for another unit to clear it.
They usually have 3 cars in the driveway, there's 1 right now.
Okay.
The little boy provides his name as they await backup.
The one time I asked him where he lived, he pointed to
You pointed there?
just once.
Okay. I have other officers coming, so if you could just hang on to him for a minute. Just wait by my car, obviously, but because we're going to clear the house to make sure.
There might be someone home.
Right.
So the officer gets on scene and there's this older guy that has a little young boy, maybe 4 years old, that he said he basically found wandering around the neighborhood alone in the dark at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. No idea where the guardian is. They think they know the house he lives in, but they're not sure.
It's possible he came from this house. There's an open door. Just in case somebody's shot inside.
Okay. Coming up from behind.
Footage of the interior of the home has been redacted for privacy purposes.
Spoiler alert, not a soul in sight. We got a real Kevin McAllister situation going on here. It's just a little less funny when it's in real life and not a Hollywood Christmas production.
But the home is void of any residents.
That's where his mommy and daddy or sister are at.
Yeah,
He's just playing down the road.
down the road.
Very verbal.
Not very verbal.
Yeah.
We don't know the exact age. He likes caterpillars, that's cute.
Officers are desperate to identify the unsupervised child.
Younger woman,
This is-
really dark black, jet black hair. I don't know if it's his sister or mother.
Goth looking. Love that description from the neighbor. I don't know, what do you think? Is it the tattoo, the gauges, or the aggressive eyeliner? I'm like 2 out of 3. Am I goth?
Because there's 2 other cars there, including that one.
So there's usually a total of 3 cars here?
3 cars, including
3
the
cars.
Pokemon custom.
I'm sorry, did you just say the Pokemon custom car? So there's usually 3 cars. You know the make and model of those by any chance? Yeah, one's a Chevy Equinox. I believe there's a Honda Pilot, and then there's the Pokemon custom car that's missing as well. Interesting.
Who found the child?
I guess another neighbor. I've seen her around before. I was out walking. And that's how I got involved, because she thought it was one from around here, so she rang her doorbell and woke her dogs up. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And that's when I called your dispatch on emergency.
Huh.
The man explains that while out for a walk, a woman happened to cross the little boy. However, she expressed that due to the widespread COVID infections, she was afraid to get close to the child and asked the man if he could help the little boy.
She's fine.
My God. What an absolute cop-out. So you're telling me this woman found a 4-year-old boy wandering a dark neighborhood by himself, and instead of offering to help, she pulled out the COVID fears excuse and then ding-dong ditched her neighbor and was like, I found a little kid wandering the streets, don't want to get COVID, gotta go. Honestly, I don't know if it's the saddest shit or the smartest shit I've heard all year. I know she was just standing there before engaging with the kid like, oh man, do I really want to get involved in a missing child case right now? Hello, young man. Are you okay? I'm sorry I have a weak immune system. Hold on a second. Ding dong. Barry! Barry, you gotta help this kid. He's by himself. It's almost midnight. He's walking around the neighborhood alone. I gotta go. Just MVP for the COVID scare neighbor. Granted, this was August of 2021, but that's still like past the year mark of the pandemic, right? You can't help a little boy lost in the neighborhood. Oh, I don't want to get. I'm sorry, let's move on.
Okay, so who wants them?
You want to go for a walk?
Yeah.
You want to show me where you think your mom is? Okay.
A concerned neighbor approaches an officer and inquires as to what's going on.
Jesus, that is so heartbreaking, man. Just hearing that little kid's voice. A lot of you guys know this. I have a son who's almost the exact same age, it looks like, as this kid is in this video. It is unfathomable to me to imagine a situation in where he would be wandering around a strange, dark neighborhood by himself, not knowing where either I or his mother were. Truly breaks my heart. Kids are just so innocent and pure, but unfortunately, shit like this probably happens way more than we can even imagine. So another neighbor comes up that has a little more knowledge of who they are.
Talk with your neighbors.
They just moved in, probably, I would say a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
So pretty.
Yeah, they're pretty new to the community. They moved from Colorado.
So they moved from Colorado to Florida. That makes it even worse because they've been there not but a couple weeks. It's not like this is a neighborhood the kid is maybe familiar with at 4 years old. You might have a little bit of understanding, but they just moved there. New house, new neighborhood. He's out there roaming around on his own, no one around. This is Florida too, for Christ's sake. I mean, he could have got snagged by an alligator or a homeless dude on bath salts. There's a million things that could have gone wrong here.
They're finally making some headway.
Hey, do you happen to know the owners of that?
Marissa Cluche.
We got a name.
She's a single mom. She's not here. The kid was there.
Yeah.
Police have learned the identity of the homeowner, and it turns out she's actually a celebrity of sorts. Social media influencer Marissa Cloutier, better known as @Digital Princess on TikTok, has amassed over 2 million followers.
Thirst trap TikToker with a niche community of horny men that financially support her. Okay, I'd let you get away with that one, but celebrity? Let's reel it in a little bit here, Ewu Bodycam. Celebrity? I mean, come on now. Come on, bro. Slow down a little bit, pump the brakes. So that dude that knew her name was actually the realtor, I guess, that sold her the house, which is why he had her information. He actually had her number too. So he was able to give her number to the officers and they called her, I guess, got in contact with her, and she, I don't know what she said, but was like, I'm coming back.
Kind of scary. Little guy running around here, nobody's here.
Yeah, you think?
That's real scary.
I think he just turned 4 because he said something about a birthday. I knew he was 3. Like I said, I don't know him that well yet.
I appreciate it because trying to find a phone number was.
Yeah, they got. I gave him the number and they got it.
Happy birthday, buddy. This year, for your birthday, you get to role play as Kevin McAllister. Mom's headed out for the night. I'll be back tomorrow. God, idiot. So sad. Stop it, Leon. It's not funny. So they go back to the dog walker, who was the original guy that found him after the COVID lady pawned him off, and they got a statement
from him.
Sometime this evening, maybe 30, 40 minutes ago now. So, and then my daughter came in the room and said there's someone ringing the doorbell, which I thought was strange. In the distance, I saw a lady that looked like there was a small child trailing her. And it looked like she was trying to get away from him.
He explains that he placed the non-emergency call to police at this time. The dispatcher was already aware of the situation. Apparently, the woman who the little boy was trailing had already placed a 911 call, but expressed that she was afraid to get close to the child, as mentioned previously. The man then volunteered to stay with the little boy until police arrived.
Are you familiar with the child? Have you seen him before?
I've never seen him.
Can you describe how, like, the child, like, his demeanor and stuff was? Like, was he scared? Crying?
No, he wasn't scared. He came right to me. He grabbed my hand.
And not surprisingly, the Good Samaritan has a question for the officer.
Was she apologetic?
Yeah, she was apologetic, but
Giving excuses?
at this point, it's not just like a few minutes, like 10 minutes, like that was. She didn't show up till a little after 11, and who knows how long he was there by himself before that. It's a significant period of time.
So it's 8 minutes in now. She apparently has arrived back at the house. We haven't seen her on camera yet. We're going to in a minute. She doesn't even appear until halfway through. They're just gathering statements from the people they dealt with thus far.
And as if the situation isn't already baffling enough, the story Marissa will provide to officers only makes everything more unbelievable. We return to the scene where Marissa's mother has just arrived.
So we will eventually get the story behind why this child was wandering the neighborhood alone, and then the real story after that. But first we get to meet Marissa's mother.
Arrived.
Hello, Mom. Hi, I'm Sergeant Moreau. You can come. Everything is okay. I'm going to explain to you what's going on. So earlier this evening, we get a phone call. There's a small child in the community unattended. We come out here. We're with the little boy, which is your grandson. Apparently, Mom had stepped away to go and get with friends or meet with friends and left him unattended. What?
So this is the first mention of the why this child was unattended. And according to the officer, it sounded like her initial statement was that she left to hang out with her friends, leaving behind your 4-year-old all alone in a new house and a new neighborhood so you could get with your friends. I mean, it makes sense, honestly. Kids are such a drag on your social life. It's impossible to make plans. Honey, are you asleep yet? Okay, Mommy's just gonna put on her makeup and slip on her mini skirt and still sleeping. I'll be home in the morning. Remarkable.
So this is where we're at. And
He was walking around by himself?
Yes, ma'am.
We just moved here. Literally. The beginning of August. She just bought the house.
Okay. So that's why we called you out here, because we're still in the process of investigating everything. But more than likely, she'll be going to jail today.
Oh.
So that leaving a child unattended is a very serious offense.
Oh, I get it.
So they continue to interview the grandmother, and as a normal grandmother would be, she's shocked and empathetic for the grandkid and full of rage and emotion at her daughter's insane negligence. But she wants to make sure that the emotion she's feeling doesn't upset her grandson more than he probably already is, and she makes a point to say that, and she's thinking about his needs, unlike his mom, I guess.
I'm so angry right now. But I don't want to see me angry.
The little boy's grandmother composes herself and makes her way in to see him. And just as she is about to enter the home, we catch our first glimpse of Marissa, who has just exited the home. Her brief journey out to the end of the driveway can only be described as a walk of shame.
Hi. What you doing, sweetheart?
Go ahead and follow Sergeant.
Yes, ma'am.
She goes. Got the peaches on now.
You want to hand this off to your phone?
Yes, him by being arrested, ma'am.
And I heard where they were coming from. Don't know that yet, okay? With the bridge, right? That's why the detective's out here, alright? And I'm like, yeah. What was your question?
I was just asking if I was getting arrested, ma'am.
Oh, we don't know yet.
Okay, ma'am.
Sorry.
It's okay, ma'am. It's okay.
I thought you were asking about mom or something. I was like,
no.
I've been out here with mom, so I could probably answer.
Just a few awkward moments later, it seems a decision has been made.
Yeah.
You want to say goodnight to your son before you go to jail?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, come on.
Marissa is allowed to say a quick goodbye to her son. Then it's time to resign herself to her fate.
Yeah.
I love you, Auntie. I'm sorry I made a mistake. I love you. Just keep walking straight.
Yeah, good. I'm not going to cuff you in front of where your son might see you. Okay. I'm not going to do that.
Oh my God.
Put your hands together like you're crying. Yes. Palm to palm. Palm to palm.
Like that?
Yep.
Okay, ma'am.
Is your car open?
Oh, which one?
The token on it?
Yes.
Is it okay if not? Where's your ID?
I'm currently in the right.
Is your car open by any chance so we can grab your ID? Which car are you talking about? The one you just rolled up in with the decal on the hood of Snorlax from Pokemon slapping his butt cheek and making a kissy face? Yeah, that one's open, yeah.
Inside.
Is it okay if an officer goes in there to get it?
Can my mom get it?
Ooh. You got a little something else in there that might not help your defense? Is that why you want mom to get in there? Got a little 375 of the Tito's in there, do you? Maybe a little burnt pipe of the devil's lettuce hanging out in the console there, do you? Nah, I'm sure you wouldn't be imbibing in such things on a night you left your child home alone in a strange neighborhood. Oh, man. The worst part is just like judging by her TikTok from what I've seen and the fact that she was with her friends or something is the story they're coming up with. Is they were doing like a TikTok collab or something, drinking wine coolers and gyrating their ass cheeks to the latest Meg Thee Stallion song about feverish promiscuity while their 4-year-old son is wandering their new neighborhood confused and alone. Mom? Mom, are you out here? Mom? It's so dark out here. Mom! Mom!
Do I have a seat for her?
Yes, ma'am.
A statement from Marissa's mother is then taken.
And also present in this interview is going to be Officer Weber.
Okay. She bought this house on her own.
Oh, yeah?
That boy, so like I said, her nanny also lives in Colorado.
Moved the whole family down?
Like, doesn't trust anybody where there's son, but her family, that's it. Nobody takes her son.
So on my first pass of watching this, after hearing that particular statement from the grandma, I was curious because it sounds like she makes a bunch of money, moved the whole family down to Florida, bought her own house. And I know TikTok ain't paying that mortgage with ad rev. So my first assumption, based on a quick browse of her TikTok that I've done, and her Instagram, was that she posts thirst traps as a pipeline for 18 plus OnlyFans subscriptions, and that is exactly what she does. Now, in my initial investigation, I made the mistake of clicking one too many links and ended up on a video titled "E-Girl Deathcore Vocalist Purchase Full Cream on OnlyFans." In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, amen. Honey, if you're watching this, I'm telling you, it was an accident. The internet is like Satan's playground. Everything vile is just one link away. I just immediately clicked off. I promise I did.
She's a good mom. She really
Well, you don't say.
was a stupid decision she made, and I can't believe she even made a decision like that.
Me neither.
And why she did, I don't know. I'm just glad he's safe, and I thank you for that. And
We thank you for being here.
well, I would never not come. That's my grandson. I just can't believe she did that. This is not her. This is so out of character. I'm in shock right now. My sister, too, she's like, this is like out of character. I said, I don't get it. That's the last thing I thought of. I'm like, what did she do?
The magnitude of the situation is undeniable. As disturbing as the idea is, things could have ended much differently.
Yep.
The officer returns to Marissa and informs her of the plan they have arrived at.
That is true. I mean, this is the best case scenario ending for this type of thing in many respects. The child is safe, totally fine, but still probably a traumatic experience for a 4-year-old, no matter how you spin it. And that kind of thing can stick with you for a while, even if it's subconsciously. But he's safe, at least.
What's gonna happen now is I'm gonna take you down to the police station. I'm gonna do some paperwork, and then you'll be taken over to Lee County Jail, okay?
Just a few days later, Marissa would publicly respond to the news of her arrest in a
Here we go.
TikTok video that was taken down almost as quickly as it was posted.
So this happens, what we're seeing now years later, right? Then she gets processed, gets let out, I guess on bail or bond the next day, immediately goes to TikTok, which was her platform, her pipeline to her moneymaker, right? And denies the allegations, which is insane. So listen to this.
Legally, I'm not allowed to say so much regarding it, And I know there's a lot of things that are being posted online that are out of context and are very much untrue, so please do not believe everything you read on the internet. Naturally, her followers had something to say and responded with a plethora of comments,
sometimes I do,
including the following. Bruh, there's literally a police report. She cannot say the internet is lying. This is bone-chilling to think of as a mother.
Honestly, hearing the EWU Bodycam narrator say bruh just made this video for me. That's it. I'm toast.
Ah, yes, the out-of-context detailed police report.
Yeah.
And indeed, it was a detailed report. From the sounds of it, perhaps Fort Myers Police Department tasked their most talented writer with the assignment of writing up a report.
The narrative, beautiful. It's like Charles Dickens.
Oh, you did it?
No, I'm saying like when she does.
Oh.
They got a real Charles Dickens in that department, I guess, that gets tasked with writing the police reports. Once you have that talent, you know all the amateurs are going to pass it off on you every time. Like, you know, writing up a detailed report is probably like the worst part of the job, right? And there's that one person in the department that is sick at writing. And everyone's like, oh, Melissa, last time it was so good. You want to just take this one? You were here, right? You saw what happened, right? Can you write this one up for me? I'm trying to get home. I got golf with the boys in the morning, so I'm trying to get to sleep. You mind just... All right, cool.
It was within a probable cause statement that Marissa's unbelievable claim as to why she'd left her son unattended was revealed. She'd simply run out of laundry detergent. After putting her child to bed, she allegedly made a quick jaunt to a nearby 7-Eleven to replenish her soap supply. However, her failure to produce a receipt for the purchase, combined with a detergent container in the home that was only half full, contributed to the implausibility of her story. In addition, it was her appearance that really didn't support her account. When she arrived home to a swarm of police and concerned bystanders, she was allegedly wearing a black mini dress and appeared to be dressed more for going out. According to the police narrative, her attire wasn't conducive to a late-night run to a convenience store.
Oh, you went to buy laundry detergent, did you? Just a quick little jaunt down to 7-Eleven, yeah? Couldn't wait to clean that laundry. Gotta make sure the clothes are clean for the morning, you know? Your Honor, I would like to focus your attention on Exhibit B, a half-full container of Dawn laundry detergent still present in her home. I rest my case, you lying swine. In her defense, though, everyone knows you can't go to 7-Eleven without your best club outfit black miniskirt. I'll even give her the benefit of the doubt and assume she wasn't going clubbing, but she was probably getting spit roasted by a metalcore band in front of a rolling iPhone 13 camera. Full cream, my OnlyFans. You sure did.
Oh, you made a decision that wasn't the best.
There was no denying that. After Marissa had been read her Miranda rights, she came clean and admitted that she really hadn't made a quick visit to a 7-Eleven after all.
You don't say.
According to the probable cause statement, she put her little boy to bed around 9 p.m., then went to go meet with a friend 11 miles from her home.
Jesus.
The officer can't help but attempt to try and make some sense of the situation.
Am I understanding this correctly? You have a nanny?
It would be one thing to like run to a neighbor's house for a minute, like maybe you can like the monitor can reach or something, but like that's like a 15 residentially, that's probably a 20-minute drive at least. That's insanity. I'm just now having this like secondhand horror and anxiety just picturing this kid the same age as my son, like waking up in his house. Maybe he peed the bed, maybe he had a nightmare, and he just wants to go and see his mom to comfort him, right? And he goes in her room, new house, still kind of an uncomfortable situation. He's in a new room, goes in her room and she's not there. He's looking all over the house. He's calling out her name to the point where he leaves the house, starts walking around a dark neighborhood alone in his pajamas. Like, I literally just got goosebumps. The idea of that makes me so viscerally sad and angry. The flip side of that thought process is this mother, right, is that, maybe he's a good sleeper. He sleeps through the night a lot. So I can put him down and it'll just be like any other night and he'll fall asleep. And you know what I mean? In a different universe, she could have done this and he could have slept through the night and no one would have known. He wouldn't have known and it would have been totally whatever. Not fine, but it just would have happened and she would have gotten away with it. It would have been cool. But you just can't do that. You, as a parent, like there is always going to be a chance that your child will wake up and will need you. So you can't. There just needs to be someone around at that age. Oh man, I hope she learned her lesson, man. What an absolutely idiotic thing to do.
Yeah, for earlier in the daytime, she helped me out with him.
And also so that you're aware, the Department of Children and Families is also notified of the event.
Yes, correct.
I guess, yeah, that would be our version of Child Protective, is that Child Protective Services?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so DCF, it's DCF in the state of Florida, Department of Children and Families.
And what does that mean exactly? That it just means that I'll now be checked up on?
So she goes on to have like a heart-to-heart with the officer, which is never typically a good idea to spill your guts to the officers like they're a therapist from a legal standpoint. The officer tells her that the grandmother is going to be able to take custody of her child for the time being, which is good because some states wouldn't allow that and they would get CPS involved in a situation like this.
You may be wondering if they're really allowed to take the child if there's another immediate relative willing to take the child in. It varies from state to state. In most cases, the child won't be released to a non-custodial parent by the police, and the issue is resolved either by family services or the courts.
So I'm guessing you wouldn't be able to either answer the time if my kid's going to be taken away or not.
For that, I can't answer. Again, I don't want to speak for another agency.
I apologize for lying to you, and I know that it's really down to right to a police officer because obviously all lies get caught up and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, lying to a police officer is probably dumb in a situation like this. I'm going to say that's probably trumped by like 10x by the fact that you thought it was cool to just leave your kid at home in a new house in a new neighborhood at night all alone and drive 11 miles away with nobody at home. Lying to a police officer on like the ladder of fucked up things to do is like right here. And then what you did to your son is like...
And then I should have just called the sheriff for that. My anxiety gets me.
Well, classic anxiety. Let my anxiety get to me. Shut up.
My advice to you in that regard would be just don't put yourself in a situation where you find that you need to lie to police officers.
There you go.
It is exceedingly rare to find an example where it's helpful to speak to police. Other than identifying yourself, there usually isn't a benefit to talking to police. Marissa briefly elaborates on the whole unfortunate event.
And it was the first time of me ever leaving him there, and he always slept through the night.
There you go.
I just got some more time leaving, and I know that's still no excuse. It's still selfish excuse to use.
Kids are also weird. They have like that spidey sense.
They sure do.
They definitely do.
The reflection comes to a halt when they arrive at their first destination.
So they get to the jail, she gets booked, and I don't know if she had to spend the night or not, but ends up getting released on bond, as we see here.
It's still going to be a question you're going to want to ask the deputy.
Marissa was booked into the Lee County Jail, then released without bail around 12 hours later.
So she spent the night.
At the time of her arrest, she was initially charged with child neglect. However, roughly 6 weeks after the incident, on October 4th of 2021, Lee County dropped the charges against her. It's impossible to say why the charges were dropped without additional documentation. The alleged crime of child neglect seems to have had its elements met. However, there may have been post-arrest negotiations with the DA that led them to drop the charges.
The crazy part to me is that when this initially happened, a year and a half ago, she immediately, after getting out the next day, goes online to be like, don't believe everything you read online, like in the police report, it's not true. You made a fucked up decision. You fucked up bad, honestly, right? But at least own up to it. Immediately own up to it, tell the truth. You were just blabbing to the officer about how lying is bad and, it always comes back around to get you. I cannot stand people that have an online audience. I don't know how big her audience was at that time, but it just... Don't try and pretend like what happened didn't happen. I know you're worried about your career and your money, and people are going to think less of you, and maybe less people subscribe to your OnlyFans because they think you're a bad mother, whatever. Just be authentic, be honest. But ultimately, from a legal standpoint, the charges were dropped. Nobody really knows why. And I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that was fair? Do you think that she should have been charged and had to go to court and face consequences for this? Or do you think that this is enough of a wake-up call to where she won't make this same mistake again? I have mixed feelings a little bit. Obviously, the last video we watched of Wyatt, it's a whole different scenario where he was like entitled and just combative and just such a prick. To her credit, when it came to her interaction with police and dealing with the situation, she was polite, she was using ma'am, she was cooperative. She didn't do anything to further incriminate herself or make a bad situation worse that so many people like to do when we watch shit like this. I think the main takeaway here is that if you're going to use the excuse that you just had to slip out to 7-Eleven and grab some new laundry detergent as the reason why you left your 4-year-old son home alone in a new neighborhood at night, at least hide the current half bottle of laundry detergent sitting in your house already. Have these idiots learned nothing from the 65 seasons of CSI? I don't wish ill will on anyone. She did something very stupid and it ended up being a huge problem that is now broadcasted to millions of people on the internet. So she's gonna have to deal with that piece of it, even though she hasn't had to deal with it legally. Hope she learned her lesson. Hope her son grows up to be a healthy young man. And to that I say slancha, and thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you stand up out of your chair, hip thrust that motherfucking like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.